Hey guys, I own a strong, well-ranked SEO agency website in the UK, and I want to start expanding as I have a lot of traffic in the US, etc. How can I clone my site onto a .com domain while retaining my .co.uk? Content is relevant to both areas. How can I easily pull this off within WordPress? Do I need the href language, canonical, etc.? I have thousands of pages, so I want to use something automatic to sync things to avoid manual work wherever possible. Thanks. I appreciate any advice on this. That's a good question. I'm not sure I have a good answer for that. I mean, I'm not sure. I'd have to think about that, and I would probably have to consult with some others because I don't. I mean, other than some link building clients, all the SEO work I've ever done has been in the US, so I'm just not sure. I mean, I would almost say just duplicate the site onto a .com and then canonicalize the pages from the .com over to the .co.uk that are relevant only to the so in other words, the pages that are relevant specifically to the UK, I would still have those pages on the .com site, but canonicalized so that it's pushing credit over there. And then similarly, the pages that are relevant, that are on the UK site that are relevant exclusively to the US, if it's relevant to both, then I don't know what you would do other than to just have them both published, right? If you think about that, remember, duplicate content, it's not really a thing. There's original and copy, right? And that really only causes problems when it's on the same domain. If you have duplicate content or original, if you have copied content on the same domain. If you have it on two separate domains, it's not really an issue. Well, if it was, then press releases would never work, right? Syndicated content, guys, we've been talking about this for years. So it might make sense to just have both of them published. But what I'm saying is if you have content that's on the UK site that's really only relevant to the US, then I would canonicalize those pages to the US pages, the .com pages. And then similarly from the .com US site over to the UK site, if there were pages on that site that were mostly relevant to just the UK, if that makes sense. But, you know, why not? I don't really have a good answer to that because I've just not done it, what you're attempting to do. But why not just clone the site onto a .com and see what happens? I mean, I know you don't want to lose any. The thing is, if you were to clone the site onto a .com and get it to index in the US, my guess is that nothing negative would happen to the UK site. But if it did, you could always, unpublish, take down the UK site, the US site on the .com domain to see if that was it, right? Like, in other words, if you experience a negative movement in the UK site from cloning it onto a .com site and then having both published and indexed, if you see a drop, then couldn't you just unpublish that site? I mean, that might be something else that you could do, just to test it and see. And it should come back fairly quickly. If that's the case, that would be an algorithmic occurrence, in my opinion, not a manual thing. You know what I mean? And I don't think that it's going to cause a problem anyways, to be honest with you, but I wouldn't know without testing. It's just my assumption it wouldn't cause a problem because it's geographically so different, if that makes sense. So I don't know. I would just test it. Like I said, if there were pages that were specific to the UK site, but were published on both, then I would canonicalize from the US site to the UK site and then vice versa. But anything that would have served dual purpose, that would be valid in both locations, just leave them published in both and see what happens. I don't know that it's going to cause a problem, but you could quickly remedy it if it did by just unpublishing that site or those pages, if that makes sense, on the .com domain. Anyway, that's a good one. I really don't know. I'd have to ask around some other people that have more experience with that type of a scenario.